What's the need just talking?
I saw it, I said, real. Telling it out in the elevator.
I know my wife so much, I just sometimes have to look twice to make sure I don't get y'all mixed up. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the September 6th Sin Harbor Planning Commission to order. City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Henry,
Present.
Commissioner Hensel,
Present.
Commissioner Marshall, Commissioner McGee, City Manager Mitchell,
Here.
Mayor McCommon, Commissioner Yarborough, Chairman Reed.
Present.
You have a quorum.
At this time, I would like to make a motion for the approval of the agenda. So moved. Also would like to make a modification to item D, which is the update for the master plan. We would like to include Mona from AEP for an update. And we'll move the master plan update to E. Can I get a support for that motion for the change? Support. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll for the approval of the agenda.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Yarborough, Mayor McCommon, Commissioner McGee, Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Manager Mitchell,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Mr. Chair, if there's a modification to the agenda, is this, now is the time to make it?
Yes, I made the.
Okay, I think you were kind of busy, on the July 5th meeting with, members present. I voted on a lot of things, but I'm not in the present.
we'll do that in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional comments?
Chairman Reed,
Yes.
I'm on roll call.
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, we'll direct your attention to the minutes for July the 5th in our regular session. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions? I need a motion for the approval of the July the 5th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner McGee, Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson, Mayor McCommon, Commissioner Yarborough, Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Direct your attention to the August 9th meeting minutes. Make a motion for the approval of the minutes. Supported by City Manager Mitchell. Any discussion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner McGee, Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Yarborough, Commissioner Henry, Mayor McCommon, Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, I'd like to open the meeting up for public comment. Anybody want to make any comments? Last call. Hearing none, I will close the public comment portion of our meeting. And I'd like to move on to agenda item number 6, which is new business. At this time, I would like to open it up for a public hearing for a special use permit for the street address of 326 East Main Street with an ID number of 11-54-0340-0243-00-1 for the operation of an adult use marijuana provisioning center. Do we have the applicant here present to make a presentation?
Good afternoon, Jordan Florian. I'm the attorney on behalf of the Relief Center of Benton Harbor. As was just stated, we're here today for the approval or the review of the special use permit for the operation of adult use, as well as the site plan later in the agenda for the 326 East Main Street address. I'd just like to point out that this is the same facility as previously approved for the medical use. And we are otherwise now just requesting approval pursuant to Mr. Bruce's recommendation letter.
Okay. Did any of you all have any questions of the applicant? Is your hand raised, Commissioner? Commissioner Henry?
This facility is due, and it might be out of your knowledge range. Do they have a date for opening?
I would have to make a call to my client. The individual that was supposed to be here was out today because he got pulled into the hospital. So we weren't able to have one of them present.
Okay.
Through the city manager, Mr. Little, to your knowledge, is the application basically the same for medical marijuana use as it is for recreational?
Basically, it is.
Okay. And this is one that we have already approved for the medical?
Yes.
Okay. Are we asking for another license, or is this license part of, has this license been already approved?
And this is the adult license, right?
Yes, this is for the operation of the adult use facility.
And that's pretty much consistent with what Holden did. That original states that were received provisional licenses. When that ordinance was initially done, they couldn't get an adult license unless they had a medical license. And what has happened since the March of last year changed is everybody's coming in for adult license.
Did you have any questions, Commissioner?
I think I asked this question once before, and the answer was yes, but I needed to expand a little bit more. So I know we approved a certain number of licenses to be issued. Is this one of those? And if it is, how many more do we have?
In the instance of the adult license, all 6 of your original provisioning licenses were also granted the opportunity to apply for an adult license. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe, Madam Clerk, if you can help me, how many adult licenses is this?
This will make 5 out of 6.
Okay.
This will be 5 out of 6 for adult recreation. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other discussion or questions? I'd like to open it up for public comment at this time. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on behalf for or against this particular application? Hearing none, I will close the public comment portion of the hearing. Commissioners, are you all ready to vote on this? We can vote approval, denial, or provisional. Seeing that there was no opposition, it seems to have everything in order. So can we get a motion for the approval?
Support.
Motion is made by City Manager Mitchell and supported by Commissioner Henry. Any discussion? Call the roll for the approval of the motion.
Commissioner Yarbrough, Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee, Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed, Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson, Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
At this time, I would like to close the public hearing for the special use permit of 326 East Main. At this time, I would like to begin the site plan review for that same address and same property. 326 East Main, ID number 1154-0340-0243-00-1. Mr. Through the city manager, Mr. Bruce,
Yes, sir.
have you reviewed this facility?
Yes, we have, sir. When they first came in and did the application, we have since then, myself and the building inspector been out to see the site. They are in a little bit of construction right now. Yes, I have.
Have you made the recommendation based on the zoning for this particular operation?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have.
And your findings were, is this in your recommendation letter?
Yes, sir. I can read it off if you like.
Do any of the members of the commission have any comments or questions? Now
I
this,
do. Sorry.
Mr. Henry, right now.
So they're still doing repairs?
They're in the middle of construction. Here lately, I haven't seen anyone at their facility. Commissioner, as I just spoke to their representative here, their attorney, they're gonna reach out to our office as well as me reaching out to them so we can get in there and complete a walkthrough and see how far along they come.
Well, how would you suggest us to approve something that you have not finished your investigation on?
Well, from what we've seen, the only thing that they have to do is probably put up some drywall and finish off some other things in their facility. I went by the building today, me and the building inspector.
Have you had any communication with the state of Michigan on this building?
No, I have not.
Thank you.
Do you have the sealed copies of this site plan in the office?
Yes, sir, I have one, the original that they did have provided to us originally with all pages sealed by their architect.
Mr. Chair. Is that the same architect as the person on these drawings?
Yes, I would believe so.
Is that a Michigan architect?
Anyone knows?
Yes, it's a state of Michigan architect.
On there?
Yes, sir.
Based upon what you've seen so far, would you recommend that we make the approval, if that is the way the commission votes, conditioned upon your final inspection?
Yes, sir, I would recommend that, sir.
Any members of the commission have any other comments? If there are no additional comments, I would make the motion that we approve this site plan on the condition that at the next meeting of the planning commission, you give us an update on the progress and whether or not it's to a point where you would approve it.
Yes, sir.
I get support for the motion. Support is by City Manager Mitchell. City Clerk, would you please call the roll for the conditional approval of the site plan for 326 East Main?
Commissioner McGee, Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Yarbrough, Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed, Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This time we move to agenda item number 7A, the monthly absentee report of the members. Commissioner McGee is excused. Commissioner Ferguson indicated that he would not be able to attend this meeting, so I will excuse him also. I have not heard anything from any of the others who were absent. I would like to bring it to the attention of all the members of the Planning Commission. 3 consecutive meetings based on our bylaws would subject you for perhaps removal from the commission. 25% absences during any 12-month period would subject you to the same potential for removal. So be sure that if you're going to be absent, please give me a call. Let me understand the circumstances. And if possible, I will excuse you. Any comments? Hearing none, I'd like to move on to the update for the 175 Riverview Drive apartment complex. No one here from Whirlpool. They usually just give us an update. There are no contingencies for them to consider, so we'll move on to agenda item 7C, which is an update on Kushava Craft. I'm sorry,
Kushava Craft.
Kushava Craft at 261 Water Street.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Kushava, the founder of Kushava Craft. Work progresses. The framing, structural, wall covering stuff is almost complete. I believe the final metal paneling is going on. Electric and plumbing have taken longer. We're still fielding quotes because the trades are really hard to get right now. So plumbing, I believe, is going to start next week. We did hear back from him. And then once plumbing happens, then we can do the parking lot, like discussed. So I don't have a strong finish date yet until we talk to the electrician, but I can come back and update next month.
Okay. And I'd like to direct this to Mr. Bruce. You are paying attention as they progress?
Yes, sir. I don't know if Mr. Kushava has been in contact with the building inspector, but the building inspector knows that they do have work going on there.
Okay. And the resurfacing or making the surface of the drive or parking area is going to be delayed until after the plumbing is installed?
Till after the plumber, because we'd have to tear it back up in front of the building. So, but as soon as that's done, we'll get that taken care of.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? Thank you for your updates, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call on Mona from AEP to give us an update.
Good evening, and I'm Mona Livingston with Indiana Michigan Power, and I'm just providing a very short and brief update on the Main Street substation. Right now, our right-of-way agents are working with the surrounding property owners and preparing the exhibits, so that should be completed by the end of September. The construction work with the water system will start in January, and the plan is to have the current substation demolished by June of 2023. Those are the dates that the team is working on. And some of these dates have been pushed out because, unfortunately, we are not able to receive material because of supply chain issues. So we were hoping, we are right now, I would say, a month or two behind schedule. But there is really not much we can do about that.
Any questions from the members of the commission?
Thank you.
for the update. Okay, at this time, I'd like to give you an update on the master plan. I will be at the meeting of the city commission to remind them of the RRC, that's redevelopment ready, classes webinar that's going to be given between September the 14th through October the 26th. And we'll be more or less concerned basically about the planning and the public engagement portion and what we need to do to become compliant, become redevelopment ready. So I'm going to suggest that all of the planning commissioners, if possible, for you all to be a part of this webinar so that you can gain more information and see exactly where the planning commission and the city commission would fit in on this. Other than that, I will be in Chicago for the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we're looking at reclaiming vacant, abandoned, and deteriorating properties and how you can reclaim them. So Ben Harbor has a few buildings and properties in and around the city that could benefit from rehab work or redevelopment. So those are some of the things that I'll be looking at. I'll also remind them that we're still waiting to hear as to where we want to have our neighborhood meetings. We're asking that the at-large commissioners join in with some of the ward commissioners so we have at least 2 commissioners at every one of these meetings. I'll give you additional details when we meet at the city commission meeting at 7. Okay, that's all I have at this time. Yeah.
Are we supposed to look for a location, or are they gonna find a location?
Each of the ward commissioners were asked to find your locations, hopefully somewhere within your ward. This is an opportunity to make it more convenient for the citizens so that they don't have to travel or those with mobility issues. I do realize that the planning commission has a responsibility of maintaining the master plan and using the zoning codes to enforce the plan. However, the city commissioners are representatives of the people. And in order for them to represent the people, they need to have an opportunity to speak with the people to find out exactly what the citizens, are wanting and looking for. In the absence of that, I would simply say that if the citizens aren't contacted or if they don't come out, the citizens who voted for their representatives should ask their representatives to represent them in their stead. So once again, this falls back on the city commissioners as representatives to speak up on behalf of their wards, either directly or indirectly with the help from the citizens.
So now, just so I can have an understanding. I'm in the 3rd ward and I have 839 people that I represent. And none of them show.
You would still be responsible to represent them.
So how much power, how much will what I'm saying have with the master plan? My question, because when I see us have meetings and there's not many citizens, and when I see that the plan is moving forward, my question is, how much power, how much consideration is one commissioner have in the master plan?
As an elected official, citizens present, representatives represent. We call those representatives. They were elected by the people to represent them. I don't expect 800 people to show up. However, for the representative to actually be able to represent them, it might be wise for them to talk with the citizens to find out what their concerns are.
Of course.
And the representatives will be held responsible for the responses. Now, the planning commission will not go out and tell you that we represent you. That is not our duty and our responsibility. So in an effort to get a response as accurate as possible from the people, we ask that the representatives go out and intermingle with the people, talk to them, set up, and determine. So when we do meet, they will have a good idea as to what it is that should be in the master plan. Planning week was basically for basic stuff. That's why I asked the consultant, I says, we need to go into the neighborhoods to find out, be more specific. We don't want to copy and paste from previous documents. And they agreed to do so. And he gave us a list of dates when he would make himself available. Planning commissioners, I'm asking that you all attend as many of these neighborhood meetings as possible also. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I just have a question for Commissioner Henry. When you asked the question about finding a place, are you speaking logistically, and are there issues that need to be resolved as far as how to actually get a space?
Well, if you really take a tour around the city, there's no community center here. There's not too many community places, library, different places. So it's not a whole lot of places that we could just go and say it's together. So I hear him asking for us to do that, so then I think about where in my ward.
I asked the question because I do know that the second ward has some issues with that too. So one thing that we've done in the past that worked was to partner up with other institutions that were in the neighborhood. So there is an option for the second ward anyway for the commissioners to use Harbor of Hope. So I'm wondering, is there a place like that would be available and accessible that maybe if we need as the city to approach them on behalf of you as commissioner to say, we'd like to work with you, can you provide a space for an evening? You know, would that help?
Of course, I've had a couple of town hall meetings, but they were, the property was hard to come by in my ward.
Are there likely places that come to mind that perhaps could be consulted now that maybe Mr. Reed can put down and try to?
I have to think about that and see if I can come up with, but I've been thinking for the last 2 to 3 months of where I can go with 25 citizens.
We could potentially approach Pastor Montgomery to see if he can
Yeah,
what we're trying to do is get as convenient as we possibly can. That's the issue. I'm not sure what the mobility issues are, but based upon the fair housing mapping that we saw, there's a large number of people who would have mobility issues trying to get around. So we want to try to keep it as close to where they are as possible. If you would like for us to assist you in finding a place, I'd be happy to do it.
I'd be happy for you to do that.
I wonder too if we could work with Dial-A-Ride if we needed, if let's say, if it ended up at Harbor of Hope. I know that it's a distance from some of the residents in the third ward. It's not too far for some, but for others it is. So perhaps if we have a meeting scheduled out far enough, we would be able to arrange transportation as well, if people could let us know.
I was just going to share an idea. Week before last, on Friday, we held a meeting out at the township park with about 60 senior citizens for input regarding Ox Creek and so forth. So Union Park, Township Park, if the weather permits it, there's some possibilities. People really enjoyed being out in the air, open air that day. I did too.
I have no issue with the park except, where do they sit?
Well, where they had picnic tables up under the thing out there, that's where everybody sat. But, yeah, the bleachers and so forth, but.
The only issue that I was trying to avoid was that what days, what times, logistically, this is a lot of things that might be better for the board commissioners to do with their people. I'm not suggesting churches, but there's a lot of places people meet. There's a possibility that the city won't have to, well, I won't say the city. We're trying to make sure that we don't have to incur any unnecessary additional costs, such as renting space, like what they did over at the Secret Garden. I don't know the exact amount that they cost, but I'm sure we can meet there again, but that would be a cost. Yeah, so if we could meet, if you all can find out if the citizens in your ward have no objection to meeting at Harbor Hope, if that's where we can arrange it, then what would be the best times? And I'm thinking that in the evenings, most likely for people that work. So we were asking if you all could help us with that and coordinate it, that would be a lot better than us telling you where to be. I wanted to talk more directly to the people. So at the same time, I also wanted to involve the at-large commissioners because, well, they need to be involved. And you all need to work together. So this is an opportunity for you all to kind of meet together. I'll bring that up at the commission meeting tonight. Be gentle now.
Sister,
Yes, sir.
I can't promise this as just a trustee, but, the public library auditorium is also another spot where we would be able to use it without a charge, I believe, because we haven't used it this year, and voting doesn't count. So the municipality is eligible to use it, I believe, twice a year with no charge. So for something like this, I think, especially if we're with our clerk more here to contact them, that we could perhaps get an evening set aside. If we do it on a Tuesday evening, I believe that we're open later, so that would allow people coming from work to be able to participate.
So potential for Harbor Hope and for the library. Those would be two potential places we could meet. And the only other thing we need to do is to find out which commissioners at what time. I have no objection to having more than one meeting. Let me correct that. If two boards wanted to meet at the same time at a single place, that would work. So if they want to do it like that, I would really appreciate if the commissioners would get together and determine what would be the best time to meet. When we set times and nobody shows up, and people give me all the reasons why we should have done something different. So this time, you all set it up, and we will be there.
I have another question. I wonder about the schools as well. I know that we work with the schools for elections. Are we paying them? So I wonder if for a program, we might be able to work out something with one of the schools to get something on over perhaps the high school commons or something, so we're over on that side of town.
We have 3 places.
Would that be something that you could help us with, Clerk Moore? great.
And,
Well,
Board President, Robinson has indicated that she would be in agreement with this system.
So 2 and 4 could meet at the library perhaps. And then we'd have the other 2 spaces, whichever would be more convenient or more available.
well, I'm really leaning to a smaller group. As long as the weather is allowing me, I would like to go and get the smaller groups together because I believe they'll absorb more and have more questions to ask. And then also, once I have one meeting and everyone is excited about it, the next meeting is much bigger because everybody wants to get more involved in it. So, but my question is, do I have a presentation in my hand? How do I give any visual information about what we're doing or what's already?
Still postcards with the QR codes on them.
What happens if I'm not computer literate?
Well, if you have a cell phone and just point to that, it should open up a website that they can.
What happens if I'm not computer literate?
That's why we want to meet in person.
Right, but that would give you some.
I know that already, but,
No,
but I'm
but
talking about
you're
the
asking-
people that are not going to go and look at any screen and read anything.
No, but if you're talking about needing something to hand to someone, that would be one way that you could show them.
Or I maybe could use my
Yeah.
tablet and they can see it like that.
Mr. Lucas will have a prepared program.
When will you have that? Because I'm waiting all summer. The summer is almost gone. And I guarantee you that I'm not gonna get too many of my people out in the cold to do anything.
I agree.
And so when will he have it done? Because I've been waiting. The summer is almost gone.
Certainly you can prepare an agenda with the information that you need to get people to the meeting and to outline where we are today. And then as far as the date goes for scheduled meetings, that's gonna depend on what's convenient for you and.
I'll get in touch with him.
But I've been waiting. I've got 2 groups that's just waiting to hear what I have to say. And I thought about this because I have been one-on-one with this.
Yeah.
But it's not easy with a group.
No, and they don't have anything to take away with it.
Right.
That's why I was trying to think of what we already had, but if he does that, then you've got everything you need
Yeah.
to accept the date printed on it.
Okay, duly noted.
Thank you.
We'll get back to you on that. Any other commissioners want to make comments? Hearing none, I move that we adjourn. You call the roll, please.
Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Hensel,
Yes.
Commissioner Marshall,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee, City Manager Mitchell,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed, Commissioner Yarbrough, Chairman Reed.
Yes,
Motion carried.
we are adjourned.
Yes, sure.